So apparently there's a big video game convention going on right now, and apparently a new trailer for Ghost of Yotei just dropped. So because I started on this journey, I guess I gotta see it all the way to the end. So here is a reaction to the new Ghost of Yotei trailer, which I think is called, I think the title said like Song of Vengeance. That's quite an evocative title there, isn't it? But without like making you guys wait any longer, I'm just gonna get right into the reaction and give you some thoughts. Maybe there will be some interesting literary tidbits that I can point out, or some fun historical facts that I can point out. Maybe, hopefully, we'll give it a shot. But you know what? Let's just get on with it, eh? So, here is Ghost of Yotei trailer, Song of Vengeance. I did check if there was a Japanese version. There is no Japanese version as far as I can tell, at least right now. If there is a Japanese version that comes out, we will check that out and see if there's some interesting like linguistic tidbits in it. But anyway, let's continue.
The end of the world.
Oh, I just point blank shot them. Oh man, that was brutal. I guess she's going through all the memories of what these people did to people she cared about.
Going to give me a light.
Oh, that was brutal. I guess this is the main character's motivation, right? The Song of Vengeance. Again, beautiful, as always. This is what we've come to expect. Oh, is the snow gonna...
Smith's daughter. I watched that tree burn. How did you escape?
Same way. I survived every battle. The thought of killing you.
I like that guy's beard. Oh, there's a wolf. You get to sick the wolf. Oh, that was a co-op kill. That was an assist. Fighting with sides.
Ruthless spirits, wandering the land, driven by vengeance. Sometimes I feel like that is what I am.
Okay. Is there more? Oh, it's dark. Oh, is this, yeah, I think this is the Ghost of, yeah, this is the multiplayer thing that they had. They had in the last Ghost of Tsushima. I was going to say the last Ghost of Yotei. Last Ghost of Tsushima, they had this multiplayer thing, so they're going to be including that. Interesting. All right. I mean, honestly, there wasn't really a whole lot. It just looks really cool. That's about all I can really say. This is brutal. Was there anything... There wasn't really much to say. I mean, no real tidbits. It's just cool. Everything that I've said in everything worth saying, I've said in previous reactions. That guy's got some cool looking armor. I'll admit that. I want to look at his armor. Okay, so this is one thing that I can point out, right? You see, you've got the fake hair, which was a thing. He's got really big, like, what are these rope things that are supposed to help you keep it on your head? But see, my favorite kind of armor is like the Kamakura Heian period. Oyori is what it's called, where you have the really big, like, shoulder pad things, right? The big shoulder things that, from what I understand, originally that developed, you would have shields. They actually used to have shields a long time ago. And then as warfare changed from conscripted armies and stuff, it eventually turned into the Japanese started using mounted archers as their primary fighting force. And shields are kind of impractical on a horse. And what they would use is they primarily use the bow and arrow too. So like having a shield in one hand and firing a bow and arrow was problematic. So instead what they basically did is they just stuck the shields on their shoulders, and they had it in such a way where like when you weren't drawing a bow, the shields, you know, the big shoulder things would like cover a good portion of you. And then when you drew the bow back, they would go to the back, they would slide backwards so you could draw the bow and fire without any problems. But by the time you get to the Sengoku period, the Warring States period, which is the period just before when this story takes place, the big shoulder things actually shrink down because they're no longer using bow and arrows, and they're not really using mounted horse archers anymore as their primary means of fighting. It was more infantry and well, it wasn't really swordplay. It was a lot of basically you fought. Most armies were fought. Most wars were fought with tons and tons of dudes with spears and arrows still, but it wasn't mounted horse archery combat like it was in the Heian period, which is my favorite time. So I guess that's a little bit of a thing. This is, you can see the time period. They are staying true to the time period of post Warring States period. And again, it just looks really pretty.
Sometimes I feel like that is what
I wonder if this, like, Torii, if this is an actual place. Because you can see stuff at, like, Itsukushima and some places like that where you'll find what appear to be random Torii gates out in the middle of supposedly nowhere, like out in the middle of the freaking ocean. Right, which I think the way it works is at low tide. Yeah, I think at low tide you can actually go out to walk there, but at high tide, it like the water comes in, and then it's like the Torii is surrounded by water and stuff. So I wonder if this is built on kind of the same principle. Although the interesting thing about Yotei and this story is it takes place in Ezo, which is modern Hokkaido. Right, it's that northernmost Ireland. It's that northernmost island, which technically wasn't a part of Japan at the time. It was its own separate thing. It didn't become part of Japan technically until the Meiji period when they kind of like took it over. I don't remember. I do know that that's where they actually had a lot of like ranching and cattle raising. They actually brought a lot of Americans over to help teach them how to ranch and to raise cattle and stuff like that. Even though the Japanese had technically been doing it for centuries at that point. But, you know, the Americans were really, really good at it. But anyway. Yeah, and then there's the multiplayer. So I suppose one of the thoughts that I actually had just a little bit ago is that, you know, with Tsushima and Yotei, right? Basically, what it seems like Sucker Punch are doing is they're trying to find places in Japanese history that are kind of on the fringes, that kind of get overlooked, that people don't know a lot about, and trying to bring other aspects of Japan to the Western world, to the public at large, which I think is great. It's great. It's honest. Don't get me wrong. However, what I would please, if anybody from Sucker Punch or any game developer ever, the 1 in a million chance that any of them ever see this, okay, please make a Ghost of Bando, okay? Please, Taira no Masakado, I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with Taira no Masakado, but Taira no Masakado's story as he ran around the northern Kanto region long before there was any like big cities out here, any big established names, right? He rebelled against the imperial court. It was out in basically at the time what was then frontier land. Like you had the Emishi just to the north, and he was living on just this side, and he had to be good. Everybody who lived here had to be good at fighting because there were Emishi there. There were also other warriors who were trying to get their what's theirs, right? They were trying to take their part. They're trying to take their stuff, and so a Ghost of Bando would be so cool with Taira no Masakado, and you be in Taira no Masakado's rebellion or adjacent to it or whatever. That would be amazing. Please, somebody just do my man Taira no Masakado some justice. I'm begging you. But yeah, Ghost of Yotei looks good. Looks interesting. Looks like they're putting a lot of work into it, and I'm pretty sure this game is going to do fairly well for itself. Hopefully I was able to... Hopefully if my reactions weren't particularly entertaining, at the very least I was able to provide some kind of interesting insight or something. If you have time, if you want to know what the heck I'm talking about, please look up the stories about Taira no Masakado, because again, he is favorite samurai in all of Japanese history. He's very, very ancient samurai, old-time samurai, long before the Sengoku period, centuries before that, before the warriors really were a thing. Taira no Masakado was the first guy to really usher in the age of warriors, the growing block, I guess you could say, the growing power center, the people of that were the warriors, okay? Taira no Masakado started it all, also known sometimes as the first samurai. Check him out. Ghost of Yotei looks great, looks interesting. I'll probably play it. Don't know when exactly because I'm not in things, you know, right? Things can happen, or things happen. But anyway, I'm just going to stop rambling there. If you did find this entertaining, please give the video a like. Please subscribe to the channel too, because this is only one thing that I do. The primary thing that I do here is I actually translate stories from 1,000 years ago from ancient Japan and then put them into English for your viewing pleasure. I also look into games and such for interesting instances of classical Japanese, which is 1,000-year-old, really, really old Japanese that they don't speak anymore and they haven't spoke for a long time. So check those out if you feel like it, and especially check out the things about Taira no Masakado, which again is my favorite samurai, the coolest warrior in Japanese history, IMO. But with all of that being said, I am going to end it here. Thank you so much, guys. We'll catch you later. Goodbye.